Okay everyone, welcome to my video demo. I think this is probably the first time for me to make some video demo and seriously talk about art and concept design, illustration, about how to draw, stuff like that. Previously I have uploaded some video, but that is kind of just a very short video about about when I'm drawing a line about a character, and some video is playing video games. But I think from now on I will treat this more seriously to continuously update some video demo and maybe tutorial stuff like that, to share some of my experience and how to draw and stuff like that. Hope that will be helpful for you guys. And a little bit introduction about my background. Some of my previous clients include Treyarch. We have do some work for the Call of Duty, Black Ops 4, and Bungie. Some other studio like Volta and West Studio. And some other. I'm Chinese, and I'm living in China. So there is also a lot of clients that they are Chinese company, like very gigantic, big company. Tencent, actually, they own 90% stock about Riot, the developer of League of Legends. I'm not sure there's a lot of people know about that company or not, but that is kind of a very big company. I've did some work for them, and other company like NetEase, maybe people also not very familiar about that. Yeah, but some just like some other Chinese company. Most of my stuff is about the science fiction, mech, stuff like that. Yeah, basically like that. And actually, one of the reasons for me to suddenly starting to post some video at YouTube is because I'm recently lost a pretty good opportunity. It's a Netflix TV show, and it's actually is Love, Death and Robot 2. Love, Death and Robots Season 2, and just the first time they have contacted me and asked me to did I was available to do some work for them. And yes, of course, I'm a big fan of that TV show. I probably finished all the episodes at once. Maybe it's twice because I need to go to gym or something. Can't remember. But I can't stop to watching the TV show. It's really amazing. Yeah, I answered them yes, but finally end up they told me, they just told me because of the production schedule, they need to cancel that. I think is basically what they said. And afterwards, they told me that is because at the beginning, when they contacted me, that is at that period of time they thought they need more artists. They thought they need more people to working on that project. But afterwards, they suddenly realized that is enough people, enough concept artists at the project already. So just simply cancel the job. So I'm a bit upset. I'm a bit upset about losing that opportunity because I'm really a big fan of that TV show. The topic, everything have been talked at that TV show is really what I'm interested, and most of my work is about that subject. So so that is the reason of why I've come here and starting to post some video out here. I think maybe And I think I can also just share some experience with the other artists, and it's kind of interesting. And if you guys have any opinion and any thoughts about both my video and my work, you can just leave your comments right here. Today what I have bring you guys is mech drawing, and I have a design mech. Is pretty tall, pretty big mech, and I will find some references that is tanks, and recently I'm really interested in tanks and infantry vehicle, infantry fighting vehicle, I think. Basically stuff like that, and it's very military looking mech, and there's a girl is doing some observation and check if that mech is working properly, stuff like that. And okay, let's start the demo from the beginning. Okay, so for the first step, I have did some thumbnails, some small sketches that is just basically about the silhouette, and usually I just assume you guys just come from our station or from my Instagram to watch this video. The most of my stuff that I have posted at our station haven't go through this step. I'm sometimes just love to directly draw the final line about my design. But at this time I'm just a little bit of not sure about what I'm going to draw, so I prefer to do some smaller thumbnails and stuff like that to kind of help myself to find what am I gonna do, because what I want is just do some demo, and I have really just no idea about what I'm trying to draw at this time. And here I'm just quickly go through some references about military vehicles, and I hope this design have some quite boxy structure, and all the shape should be a little bit of angular, and so in the front there is structure or device that seems like the gunner side or commander side in the tank, but yeah, I will just put it there, but I will modify that later on. You can see that at the later part of the video. Yeah, for now on, actually I think the most important thing is still when I was drawing the silhouette, because when I'm drawing that kind of pretty rough line at there, I'm not just drawing the silhouette. Actually, every line is representing the device and the gears and more specific structure. When I'm drawing the silhouette, basically most of it is already pretty certain about what I'm gonna do later on. So when I'm doing this line on top of it, it's just kind of make every detail more refined, and to really make sure every details are there. And there is a few round shape stuff that is not part of the design. That is just because I've switched to some folder, and I need to cut off that part of the video later on. So I will make a mark at there so I can find out which part of the video I should to cut later. So just never mind. And actually, when I'm drawing this arm about the mech is, I have tried some different ways because I wanted to keep this mech. It's more about it's more boxy and have a more angular shapes. So I need to find a way to really cooperate with that shape and also make that looks like arm. So I need to find a way to cooperate the forms and the shapes together, how to make them looks more normal and makes them looks more natural. So I will try a little bit about that. And on his arm there is some square shape right there, and that is actually comes from the armor on the tanks, and I just find that stuff is kind of interesting, and I'm just simply put that there and to see if that is work or not, and I think that is seems pretty great, so I will just keep it there. I think that structure about the hip is a little bit too complicated, or it's a bit of separated, so I just simply deleted that part and to draw a leg that is just connected with just connected together entirely, so that made it looks more make the shape looks more interesting, I think. Before, I think that maybe we'll make the entire leg separated into same distance. Just all the length and all the joint is been separated too equally. So I want to broke that stuff a little bit. And then here I find that the tank gunner sight looking structure, that device is a little bit of too old. The other part of the mech is pretty futuristic compared with that sight. So I changed it to some other kind of device, and I am also trying that armor at the front of the mech, but that doesn't seem work pretty well. So I'm better just change it to some other stuff. It's kind of like just like when you are drawing this, you need to always try some different stuff, and I think after you have been designed so many stuff and you have a more experience, you don't need to try a lot anymore. It's basically more experience you have, more accurate design you can do. You can more easily to predict what is gonna looks like about a bunch of structure combined together. So that is just based on your experience, and after you design a lot, you draw a lot, you can just accurately predict what's gonna happen if you draw this gear or structure at here, and what is gonna to happen and what is that stuff gonna to looks like. So that will increase your speed and make it more efficient, and also make your design looks better. It's just based on experience. And but I still prefer to try some different stuff during the design process. But about that stuff with Draw 100 helmet I've posted at our station, that is kind of pretty random stuff. Just draw what is pop out from my brain and then put it there because I wanted to just, the goal is for me to draw more. Maybe I will do some that kind of challenge in the future and record some video to post it out here. I will find some time to do that. But that is pretty exhausting. It's a bit of too intensive. I need to 100% concentrate it at that drawing process for maybe 10 hours. That is totally exhausting, and I need to play a lot video game after I did that because I'm just burnt out after I did that. So it's not like I can do that every day. And here I think I have draw some structure that looks like a radar or something. Just want to make the design have a more different element in it. And that kind of structure is always made people to feel like that it's related with neuron system or some cyber high technology. So I'm just felt that kind of design is pretty interesting. And here I have draw a girl. The girl just made the entire drawing more interesting, and it's not just mech standing out there, and there's also a little bit of story out there, and it's a girl that she's checking if the mech is okay, if everything is fine, and trying to maintain the mech if everything is working properly. And at the beginning, when I was drawing that plug at her back, that all the cables have been, the curves of the cables have been separated too equally. So I have changed that a little bit to draw it again, and I'm also trying to stretch the upper part of the mech to make the trim of the ship a little bit more interesting. It's not very normal and very common proportion. I hope to make that a little bit different. Have some a little bit exaggerated ship at there. It's always worked. That always made the design more interesting. And finally add some detail. And the line work is nearly finished. And I will fit some color later on. Here I'm using magnetic lasso tool to fit the color. And when you are using this tool, there is something you need to pay attention, which is sometimes the magnetic lasso tend to stick with at the one side of your line, because that line is also have a width. So sometimes it tend to stick with one side of that, and after you fit the color, the line looks very light. So is half transparent. So after that, you better just use the brush to fill some color manually under the line to make that more clear. Otherwise, it's just a little bit light than the other part. Just a small tip about that. And when I'm doing this, the color is not only just about the colors. It's also representing the material and texture about the different object. And as you can see, the yellow camouflage is the same camouflage you can see that a military vehicle been used at the desert. It just comes from there. And the darker, this kind of like black part is just like some carbon or just you can find some picture about Boston Dynamic and their robots is basically have some same material on it, and the darker green is actually some iron, and the darker yellow is more like a fabric material that will help it to cover some part of the mechanic structure. In real life, that will be helpful to prevent some dust or something get into the mechanic structure. So I will put some of that kind of design there. And I can use, after I fit all the color, I can adjust it together with curves, and it's very helpful. It's very useful and convenient. And I think it's easier to, I think it looks better to make that radar to become blue, to have some different color on it. You can't put a lot of color on the design, but if you just put some small part about the different color, it will become some more vivid. I think it always works. And here I have tried some different. I have tried some kind of pretty casual looking clothes for the girl. But I don't think that works pretty well, because that just seems like a girl wearing a t-shirt and wearing a jeans. So that doesn't look very professional. So I changed that to color that is kind of like the doctor wears at the hospital. So that looks more clean and professional. It's just like they will wear that at some high-tech factory to build some high-tech machine out there. And about the shadow, I was using pretty warm color, because actually for this drawing, that all the color is extremely simplified. But for the basic rule is still following the realistic world. At the dark part of the mech, that all the line is actually flexed from the other part of the mech, so the mech itself is already yellow, and the reflection line that spot on it is also yellow light, because that is comes from reflected from other part of the mech, so it becomes more saturated. So I've just used orange, a pretty saturated orange to draw the shadows, so it will become more realistic, even though all the stuff is simplified. And then feed the color for some smaller part, for some smaller gears, device, and stuff like that. And finally adjust the background a little bit, and then I will give it a stroke with the layer effects. I previously don't use that a lot, but I will try some. I will try that technique when I was doing some work for my client, but and then finally that seems worked pretty well. So I have give that effect for this mech design too. And yeah, and that's it. This is the final drawing, and hope you guys like it. Hope you guys find this video is useful and helpful. Just leave your comments to tell me what you think about it. If you guys like it, or you have any thought about this video and my work, you can just leave your comments. And yeah, and I will post more stuff at here, and see you next time.